I need the scoop.
A romantic gesture turns into a relationship crisis when one woman stops her boyfriend's surprise proposal at their best friend's wedding. This viral Reddit story sparked heated debates about wedding etiquette, relationship boundaries, and emotional maturity. Join us as we explore a couple's journey through a proposal gone wrong, hurt feelings, and the challenging path to understanding what truly matters in a lasting partnership.
I, a 26-year-old woman, and my boyfriend, who is 25, attended a mutual friend's wedding. They're very close friends to us, and actually brought my boyfriend and I together. My boyfriend and I are coming up on our 3-year anniversary, and things were getting pretty serious. Serious enough that I very much wanted to marry him. He's sweet, chatty, typically considerate and empathetic. He's the person who I thought was the first to show me what a truly healthy and compassionate relationship was like. He's very serious about us too. We've had long talks about marriage, and it seemed we were in agreement with no formal declaration. We had even gotten as far as looking at rings, so the chance of a proposal was more of a when, not if. A few weeks before the wedding, we were hanging out with the engaged couple. The topic of weddings was very prevalent, and my boyfriend had cracked a joke about proposing at our friend's wedding. The groom-to-be joked back and said, "That'd be funny as hell." This was followed by me and the bride-to-be both shutting it down, trying to be serious but also not thinking he was serious. He was. During the reception, everyone had made their speeches and people were getting their food. While our table was waiting, my boyfriend went up to the DJ, and after, they played my boyfriend and I's favourite song to scream-sing in the car together, "Story of My Life" by One Direction. I look at him, smiling, and he's looking around. All of a sudden, he grabs a fork, stands up and begins clanging on a glass. Immediately, the whole dining room looks over. I stand up and whisper the words, "Not right now." His face drops and he yells a mix of, "I'm sorry, I was just joking." After he sat back down, I verbatim said, "Let them have their moment, let's make this our own." He wouldn't even look at me. When it was time to get our food, he immediately goes toward the exit. I follow and tried to catch up to him but couldn't find him. I text him twice and call him a couple times but got no answer, so I went back to the reception. After not hearing from him for about an hour and a half or so, he returns, sits down, and doesn't even look at me. The rest of the night was terrible. He looked like his dog just died, and I'm trying to make the best out of the night, but felt like I was just in his shadow. I was prepping for a breakdown, or maybe a fight in the car, but the only thing he said was, "I don't want to talk about it right now." And the drive was just quiet and awkward. He sent me a long text about how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that I embarrassed him. I tried to explain that it's not that I didn't want to marry him. It was our best friend's wedding and they deserve their moment, that we should create our own and not piggyback off theirs. He got offended and said that if I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't have stopped his proposal in front of everybody. This situation perplexes me. I've never seen the appeal of proposing at someone else's wedding and tried to handle the situation in a way that I felt was calm and reasonable. But he's very adamant that I ruined the proposal, made him look like an and thus, I'm the What's strange is that our friends, the literal hosts of the wedding, weren't even mad after I explained the situation. They just thanked me for stopping him, and no one else really said anything about it. I mean, I also got super excited when we talked about marriage. I tried not to make it seem like I was saying no. I just didn't want to be proposed to at an event tailored for someone else. Like, our friends paid for that wedding, and it's an ideally once-in-a-lifetime event for them. I'm really hurting and analysing this situation deeply. This is almost 3 years I've committed, where the only red flag to me before was something trivial. I don't want to just toss our time and future in the trash over a very poorly timed mistake, but his reaction is concerning me. Since we've been together, we've had really communicative discussions when we disagree, but nothing ever this big. I'm giving him time to process and see how this is approached, given some time to settle.
The community overwhelmingly supported the original poster's decision, with many commenters pointing out how inappropriate wedding proposals at someone else's celebration truly are. After taking time to process her feelings and reflect on their relationship patterns, she prepared herself for a difficult but necessary conversation. 2 days after the wedding incident, they finally sat down to address what happened, leading to revelations that would determine their future together.
This is an update from a post I made about stopping my boyfriend's proposal at our friend's wedding. After getting home from the wedding, my boyfriend and I texted back and forth. After he went to bed, I made my post because I absolutely felt like I was second-guessing everything and thought the night would have gone better if I had just let him do his thing. After seeing the responses to my post, I'm more solidified that I made the right decision. Yes, the night was ruined, but I'd be more comfortable with my life moving forward. I gave my boyfriend and myself a day to think about this and come back with clearer heads. That was yesterday. I took a lot of advice and tried to reflect on if this behavior was a grand showing of any smaller reaction. The stonewalling isn't super new. In fights at the start of our relationship, he would get quiet and make a small showing of secluding himself. I'd counter this by giving my boyfriend his space and telling him that moving forward, to just say he didn't have the words to talk about it, and we can reconvene when we're ready to talk. This worked for us. It gave him time to choose his words. We'd have a good discussion of what went wrong and how we could fix it moving forward. I didn't think that he was overtly trying to make me feel worse by the silent treatment back then. However, ignoring me for the rest of our time at the wedding hurt so much. Not even saying, "I just need space right now," and rejecting to hold my hand by pulling away felt like he was pseudo-counter-rejecting me. This was a first. I felt like he was trying to make me feel worse through his lack of communication. That's all I noticed. I've had a partner be verbally abusive to me before, and another who wasn't willing to talk about things they did wrong, refusing to take any blame. My boyfriend hasn't done any of that. I'm not saying I recognize all patterns of abuse, but I'd say I'm versed in a few. There's also been no real history of me catering to him constantly, as others were asking. If either person had strong feelings one way or another in different scenarios, we'd often be fine with that person getting their way. Otherwise, if we both didn't care all that much, he loves to use a wheel-spinning website to make decisions, and I think it's cute. We met earlier today. He came over and we sat in my living room. He broke down. He vehemently apologized and said he felt like He said he had been reflecting all of yesterday and talking to his dad about the situation. His dad got mad at him and talked him off his ego crash. His words, not mine. He had already sent a message to our friends, now flying to their honeymoon in Western Europe, apologizing for making their most important day about him and for not properly celebrating them. I asked why he neglected our conversation from months before. He said that the groom and their group of friends had egged him on in private since then, not to propose at the wedding, but to do it soon. He didn't originally plan on doing it at the wedding. He's had the ring with him for about a month, never had any real plan, and wanted it to just be spontaneous. He told me he got caught up in the atmosphere of the wedding, saw his best friend with his girl, and couldn't stop picturing us in the same scenario. His urge overran his common sense, in his terms, and he made a choice he ultimately wishes he could take back. It very much spiraled from there. I noted that while his heart was in the right place, that doesn't excuse the shitstorm he put me through after. I expressed to him that ignoring me really hurt me, that him saying my rejection to his proposal was the reason for his embarrassment, and shutdown was unfair, especially since we had already established for him not to do that. He accepted this and continued to apologize, admitting it was very unfair of him and that he should have handled his emotions and embarrassment better, especially towards me. We had a lull in our conversation after he asked, "Where do we go from here?" At this point, I didn't want to just return back to normal. A day where I expressed to him that I felt the prettiest in a long time, expected us to have enormous fun and watch our best friends have their moment to shine turned into a day where I was crying in my room, reading comments about how I should break up with him. I genuinely thought I was the who should have just bit the bullet and accepted a proposal in a way that I and others thought wasn't okay. I told him that if we were to move forward, he needed to seek a therapist to help him manage his emotions, not only from this, but other signs that he may have a panic disorder. My mom works for a mental health clinic and has offered resources before. I said that I needed time to rebuild my trust in him. He understood and is going to seek mental health resources through my mom's clinic. Until then, We'll be on a week or so break with an open channel of communication. He's going to find appropriate channels to better himself, and I'm going to take myself on a mini vacation after the emotional roller coaster that was this weekend. We did talk about what each other's ideal proposal was, something we should have talked about before the trigger was even pulled on it. I said that I didn't care for anything fancy, I just prefer it not to be public. He said that he wanted to make a grand showing of love to me and didn't care where or how. He asked if it was okay to have friends and family present, or if that broke my public rule. I said that was fine and was happy with the communicative compromise. I also stated that I didn't want to be proposed to for a while, so that we could let this situation rest and figure ourselves out from here. He accepted this. Something I thought was really sweet that I wanted to mention was that before he left, he said, "I do think I owe you some dancing." And so we slow danced in my living room for about a half hour until he left. A small and romantic action, probably to earn brownie points, but the conversation did reassure me that he's willing to try and be better. He recognized he was in the wrong, and that a joyful day was robbed by pride and not rejection. This was about as ideal of an outcome as I'd hoped. While the future is still obscure, it's a little clearer than it was a couple days ago. I have a clearer understanding now of what I want and what's healthy. Moving forward, I will do every ounce of weighing before I enter what should be the most important commitment you can make to a person you love, and I'll keep a more careful eye on his behaviors and how he may react to adverse situations.
Sometimes the most meaningful growth in a relationship comes after our most difficult moments. If you've ever navigated a relationship misunderstanding or had to stand your ground on something important, share your experience in the comments below. Subscribe to follow more stories of couples working through challenging situations together, and check out our other videos about relationship communication and boundary setting that might help in your own journey.